Galla Placidia, the woman who outlived an empire. Rome does not fall all at once. It cracks. At first it's noise, shouting in streets that once echoed with senators' sandals, the sound of iron against marble, the unmistakable panic of a city that has never imagined itself vulnerable. Fires bloom where there should be altars, statues topple, their stone faces shattering on impact, gods reduced to rubble in a single night. In 410 CE, Rome is breached. The Visigoths pour through gates that were meant to hold the world at bay. Palaces are stripped, temples are emptied. The illusion of eternity collapses under boots and blades. From behind thick walls meant to protect imperial blood, Galla Placidia watches her inheritance burn. She does not scream. She does not run. She stands still, absorbing the sound of history breaking. This is not how Rome was supposed to end. Galla Placidia was born into certainty. She was the daughter of Theodosius I, the last man to rule a united Roman Empire. Marble halls, ritualized power, endless ceremony, this was her childhood. She was raised among people who believed Rome was not just a city, but a law of nature, eternal, unavoidable, guaranteed. Every lesson reinforced the same lie. Rome does not fall. Rome absorbs. Rome survives. But even as she learned the language of empire, the ground beneath it was already giving way. Borders frayed, generals turned on each other, emperors rose and fell with alarming speed. The empire she inherited was vast, but hollowed out, like a statue eroded from the inside. Galla Placidia learned to read rooms early. She noticed which men shouted the loudest. She noticed which ones whispered. She noticed who was listened to and who was merely tolerated. Power, she realized, did not belong to the most confident, it belonged to the most necessary. By the time Rome burned, she already understood something her tutors never taught her. Permanence is performance. Survival is improvisation. When the Visigoths took the city, they did not kill her. They took her, alive. And in that moment, when Rome lost its grip on the world and a young imperial woman was led out through smoking streets, Galla Placidia learned the lesson that would define her life. Empires fall loudly. Survivors learn to move quietly. She would not be the last Roman standing, but she would be the one who endured long enough to decide what came next. They do not bind her with chains. They do something far more unsettling. They keep her intact. Galla Placidia is led out of Rome as the city smolders behind her, escorted through streets she once crossed without being seen. The Visigoths do not jeer. They do not touch her. They understand value. An imperial woman is not loot. She is leverage. So she walks, past broken columns, past burned villas, past the ghosts of a world that raised her to believe it could never be touched. Rome's fall is not just political, it is personal. Everything she was taught to rely on has failed her at once. Captivity, she quickly realizes, is not chaos. It is structure with different rules. She listens. She watches. She learns which guards speak Latin, which don't, which commanders argue, which ones command silence without raising their voices. She learns how barbarian courts function, not as mobs, but as systems built on loyalty, reward, and survival. Rome told her these people were uncivilized. Rome lied. Her survival depends on something Rome never trained her for: adaptability without dignity, intelligence without pride. She does not demand respect. She allows it to grow. And it does. The marriage is presented as mercy. Ataulf, king of the Visigoths, offers union, not conquest. Rome's princess becomes a barbarian queen, draped not in imperial purple, but in the uneasy symbolism of reconciliation. To Rome, it is humiliation. To the Visigoths, legitimacy. To Galla Placidia, it is time. Ataulf is not the brute Roman historians will later paint him to be. He is thoughtful, strategic, ambitious in a way that mirrors Rome's own past. He does not want to destroy Rome, he wants to inherit it. Their marriage is not romantic, it is functional. They speak politics before affection, strategy before ceremony. For the first time, Galla Placidia sees a future that does not involve restoration, but transformation, a new order built from the ruins of the old. Their son is born quietly, a child who could have rewritten history, half Roman, half Visigoth, a living bridge between worlds, a solution no army could impose. Then the child dies, and with him the future closes. Ataulf is murdered soon after, cut down not by Romans but by his own people. Power reshuffles violently. Galla Placidia is stripped of status, marched again, reduced once more to a bargaining piece. She does not resist, she endures. Because by now, she understands something fundamental. Survival is not passive. It is strategic patience. Rome receives her back like a problem it never solved. She is exchanged, negotiated, absorbed back into an empire that no longer knows what to do with her. The court sees her as damaged, compromised, dangerous in ways they can't name, so they marry her again. This time to one of their own. Constantius, general, power broker, eventual emperor, takes her as wife not out of love but necessity. Through her, legitimacy flows. Through her womb, continuity is possible. She gives Rome what it wants, an heir. And in doing so, she secures what she needs, leverage. When her son ascends the throne, he is a child, and Galla Placidia becomes something Rome pretends not to understand. A woman ruling in fact, if not in name. She governs from behind veils of ceremony. She balances generals who want more land, bishops who want more authority, bureaucrats who want the past restored. She keeps them all just satisfied enough to keep the empire breathing. The Western Roman Empire does not recover, but it does not collapse immediately either. That delay is her doing. She builds churches, not just for faith, but for control. She anchors power in belief when armies fail. She uses legitimacy like a shield, memory like a weapon. She knows Rome is dying. Her task is not to save it. It is to manage its last years with as little chaos as possible. Galla Placidia dies quietly. No coup, no dramatic fall, no empire restored in her honor. Just stone, just mosaics, just buildings meant to outlast men. History remembers conquerors, it forgets caretakers. But Rome did not die screaming, it lingered, and in that lingering, in those decades bought with intelligence, compromise and endurance, you can still hear her work. Empires love clean endings, victories, defeats, dates carved into stone so history can move on without discomfort. Galla Placidia never gave Rome that satisfaction. She ruled in the long middle, the years no one likes to dramatize, when collapse is slow and survival is work. She did not conquer cities. She did not reclaim lost borders. She did not restore the myth of eternity. She did something far more difficult. She kept things from falling apart all at once. While generals fought for glory and bishops argued for souls, she held the center, quietly balancing egos, faith, memory, and fear. She understood Rome no longer needed heroes. It needed time. And she gave it that. Years borrowed from inevitability, decades wrestled from chaos. When she died, nothing spectacular happened. No empire rose, no enemy fell, no miracle arrived late. Rome simply kept going for a little while longer. That was her victory. History rarely knows what to do with women like Galla Placidia. Endurance doesn't look heroic, survival doesn't photograph well. But if you look closely at the churches she built, the laws she steadied, the empire that didn't collapse when it was supposed to, you can still see her fingerprints. She outlived conquest. She outlasted captivity. She survived marriage, exile, power, and loss. And when Rome finally fell, it did so after she was gone, not during her watch. That matters. If her story felt quiet compared to conquest, that's the point. History celebrates destruction loudly. It rarely honors the women who held the world together while it was breaking. Subscribe as we continue to exhume the lives of the dark heroines, women who ruled in the shadows, survived the unthinkable, and changed history without asking permission. Next time, we step into a world of marble, poison, and Renaissance power, where a woman ruled Italy, not with armies, but with nerve, intelligence, and absolute refusal to be underestimated. Next time, Caterina Sforza, the Tigress of Forli. Stay dangerous, stay loud, and never let them hold the pen.